piece of software and then sell it multiple times. That's how the predecessor to Baan, which was Triton, got developed. There was one more, you could say, direction that he gave to the company was that we need to be independent of this hardware and operating system, right? And that's how the Baan shell came into being. It was almost like what we know today as the Java virtual machine. So that was another turning point. The fourth was to invest in developer tools, because he wanted to give his developers high productive tools. So that's how he came about with the Baan 4GL, which most of us started our career on. The fifth one I'll come to a bit later. So the products in the market started gaining traction. Baan slowly started becoming successful. And then Baan was the first ERP to have 35,000 users in Boeing. Over 5,000 customers, and still going strong in the latest avatar with Infor. So still a lot of people still say that the product is doing quite well in obviously a different avatar. It was featured in the Gartner Magic Quadrant in 92 and 98. You could see the circle here. So 92 itself we got featured, and in 98 we were clearly the leaders. In 95, the Baan company went public and got listed in Nasdaq and Amsterdam Stock Exchange. The company reached a market cap of $7 billion. There was something unique about the Baan product. It just seemed to fit very well in the discrete manufacturing world. It fitted well, it kind of was very elegant. And now comes the reason, the fifth reason, was because it had this concept imbibed in it. It had incorporated the CODP concept. So for some of our old Baan colleagues, they will realize, they will know what this concept is. It's the customer order decoupling point. It's a very powerful concept which was incorporated in the product, so that the product could meet the needs of different manufacturing typologies, right from make to stock to engineer to order. And this was one of the key reasons why the product was successful. And in keeping with his ongoing innovation theme, he kept going forward, and he pioneered the concept of DEM. He pioneered the concept of DEM, which is Dynamic Enterprise Modeling. Now, it is something in between what Cordis does and what Baan did at that time. So Dynamic Enterprise Modeling was a sort of a predecessor concept to the Cordis concept. So you could actually model processes and execute them. Apart from that, there was a lot of unique concepts in the product. There was a product configurator, there was multi-site planning, and of course, the distributed software development, because we, by that time, had started developing software in India, and I'll come to that separately. So in 1997, one fine day, when they are in Hyderabad, we take them around, we are looking for some land, and I find both Jan Baan and Paul Baan on some rocks, standing on some rocks, having a very excited discussion. And soon I realized that they've decided to invest in the Baan IT Park at that time. So that was the discussion they were having standing on the rocks. So this resulted in a mega investment in Hyderabad, and which is today called the Vandenberg IT Park. So one of the first private IT parks in the country. The investments made in 97, 98 time frame. Pioneering investor in Hyderabad, and when Hyderabad was not a preferred destination, Bangalore was at that time. Literally built from scratch. no roads, no power, nothing available at that time. It provided the impetus for others to come in, and it was used as a reference by the government of AP. Voted as one of the top 5 IT parks at that time, 1 million square feet, housing over 10,000 professionals. An iconic investment which stands tall even today. We move to the next phase of Mr. Baan, the internet venture capitalist. In 1998, he invested very early in WebEx and was the single largest shareholder in WebEx. Again, in 98, he invested in Top Tier. Okay, WebEx got acquired by Cisco for 3 billion much later on. He invested in Top Tier also as a major shareholder, which got acquired by SAP for 400 million. He invested in multiple other companies like Hiscom, Demantra, Goddess, and many others, which were acquired or went on to merge with some other companies. So that was Mr. Baan as the internet venture capitalist. Somewhere there related to that internet investment, the concept of Cordis was born. The vision was always beyond ERP. He did not stop at ERP. He always went beyond, and as I mentioned, he went beyond to the concept of DEM, and that went further to the concept of business process. Okay, then the story of Cordis kind of came. Industry standards like XML, ESB, BPM, BOP, Cordis Process Factory, at that time it was much ahead of its time in the cloud. So all these were also co-developed from India. So a lot of our Indian engineers, played a role in this. It got featured in the Forrester Wave and also in the IDC MarketScape. You can see the position of Cordis. Leading companies like Cisco, Fujitsu, KPN, Valeo, Tata Motors, and many more still use Cordis. Now about Baan in India, this needs a very special mention because in a way I feel he has acted as an ambassador to India. Right? He has taken the first steps, he has propagated the concept of India, and he has been more like an ambassador. So here is a timeline how we started in India. We started in Mumbai. I have my old colleagues from Mumbai here, Ashok Sand, who was the first general manager of Baan in Mumbai, Dara Barucha, even Zakir started with us in Mumbai. So Jan Baan visited India in 1986. He came through a delegation. He could sense the potential of India in the field of software development. And then he took a immediate step in 87 to start working with Datamatics and Patnis. These were the outsourcing vendors at that time. So he started exploring how does it work, and he was able to understand the potential even more. And soon he started with his first set of consultants. So he hired the first set of consultants, Ashok, Dara, myself. So Ashok, myself, Dara, Ranjana, Sanjog, and all of them are in various places, in various positions now. And this is the first office, and the people whom we hired were sent to Netherlands. Go back. So this is how we started, 87, 88, 89. 89 we formally started with Baan India and hired another set of employees. And then these employees were sent to Holland for training. People from Holland came to India for knowledge transfer, and soon we got going. After that, we started developing customizations. We started the global COE. So Ashok actually spearheaded the global COE, going out far and wide, training all our partners, training our customers in implementation of Baan. We subsequently started the APAC support. The Asia Pacific support was also done from Mumbai. And then after that, we kind of started standard software development. So again, something very unique. No company then actually developed standard software products in India. We were one of the first. Now that kind of learning and experience, formed a very good basis for us to expand to Hyderabad. And 1995 we came here. So we leveraged on all this learning, and a lot of people from Mumbai came, trained the new recruits in Hyderabad. So it was more like we landed in Mumbai, expanded in Hyderabad. And subsequently, of course, the story goes on, because even we started Baan Institute, Vandenberg IT Park, Cordis, as we saw in the audiovisual, and then now we have started Vandenberg Software India in Coimbatore in 2009. So all this was not easy, because those days everything was different. Infrastructure was not available, bandwidth was not available, government regulations were heavy, very heavy, and there were a lot of penalties for everything. In spite of that, he persisted, and then we came out with this learning, and we kind of grew. So that's the kind of timeline of Baan in India. And when we come to the present, Jan Baan also has invested in Oikonomos Ministries in when you go out from here towards Nagarjuna Sagar, you will hit a village called Yacharam village. So he has invested from 2001 in a large campus where they help in education of socially and economically challenged people, children. Right? So he's also busy with that. So these are some of the hard facts that I wanted to share. Now a little bit of some of the softer aspects which we have all experienced. There's one thing I always observed, that from him I got a message always that, don't wait for things to appear before you. You have to go and seek. Don't wait for it to appear, because once it appears, it is common property. Everyone, there's no competitive advantage. So seek it out, don't wait for things to appear. Provide people with the freedom to experiment and take risks. People are not rows and columns on a spreadsheet. Provide a good work-life balance, something which I personally value a lot. Belief and endurance in the India potential. Believe me, we had a lot of challenges. I remember in '89, when we were starting in India, there was a major restructuring in Netherlands. So there was a financial crisis, and a lot of people were let go in Netherlands. But India continued. The other thing which we have all learned is change and innovate. Don't just rest on your laurels. If you have developed ERP, go to DEM. If you have developed DEM, go to BPM, and so on. It continues. Some quotes from his book, which I thought would be relevant for today. Real change originates in crisis. When the crisis appears, the important question is, what are you going to do with it? Real leadership is servant leadership. Ego is a powerful force that we cannot and should not want to miss. But ego can become pathological. It is never meant for personal glory. Don't shout, I have done that. Recognize in hindsight that we are all dwarfs. He is influenced by the following books: Built to Last by Jim Collins and Jerry Porras, McDonald's Formula for Success by Ray Kroc, Winning by Jack Welch, and of course the poem that we saw from Rudyard Kipling. Some of the accolades that he has received in his 40-year journey. From Boeing, before this, I'd like to say in May '91, he received the Export Award from the President of the Second Chamber